Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about claim evidence reasoning. So this is going to be using some of the physics that we've been talking about, but also how to use that information in an argument. Okay, and this is the information. This is kind of how I would like you to write analysis for the different experiments that you'll be doing in this class. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is actually a review of the last experiment that we talked about. All right, and we're talking about claim evidence reasoning. So in physics, the claim is going to be what relationship you found that there was. The evidence is how you can prove it, and that should be numbers from your experiment, and the reasoning is kind of relating these two. So let's say this was your graph from the constant velocity car experiment. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh, look at this. This right here, the car's distance and time had a linear relationship. So I just talked about the relationship. That right there is the claim. Okay, so what you're going to do in this first one is you're going to mark that green. Bam. When the distance was doubled from 1 meter to 2 meters, okay, you can't quite see it. It's kind of small there. The car it took the car almost exactly twice as much time, 2.6 to 2.59. So that, 2.49, excuse me, that right there, that is our evidence. This is information from our experiment, okay? And then I kind of relate these two. So in linear relationships, when one doubles the independent variable, the dependent variable doubles as well. So that right there becomes my reasoning. Okay, so this is a 3-sentence claim, evidence, reasoning for this experiment. The last thing I talk about is the confidence. Confidence basically says how strongly do you believe this? And what we're really talking about is the line in these little boxes? So this part right here is there's high confidence in this analysis because the best fit line, which is this one, will always fit with an uncertainty. Okay, but that's maybe not always the case. Sometimes if there's a point way out here, you'd say to have low confidence. So what I want you to do is the same thing for this one right here. I altered the exam experiment one where you're talking about giving a plant water and then seeing how much it grows. So this is a new kind of experiment or new data on the old experiment. And you're gonna be talking about the same thing. And I want you to use this right here as a template on how to write it. Make sure you kind of follow this format right here, okay? And then you're going to do the same thing again right here. But this time you're going to make your own Desmos screenshot and put it right here. And then the last couple sentences of analysis really talk about the errors in other experiments. So let's say I'm talking about this same experiment right here. So one error that I found is you have to identify the error, and then you have to talk about how that error would affect your data and then how you can improve it. So for instance, sometimes on that car velocity experiment, the car wasn't going straight down the path, it was kind of veering off to the side. So I described that. Sometimes the car would not travel directly to the tape and it would go to the side. Then I talked about how that would affect the data. The car would have to travel further, which means it would take more time. Okay, so how can you improve the error? Well, if the car was on some sort of track, then it would not move to the side and the results would be more accurate. So this is all about one error. And then the last thing is you think about what you're studying in this experiment. In this case, it was a car's time and distance and velocity. And you think of what are some other experiments that you can do that relate to those variables? So I said other experiments could include the distance and time of a car that is not traveling at constant speed, but instead is accelerating. So if you throw in these 4 sentences together, it would be the second paragraph or the second half of your analysis, okay? So what I want you to do in this one is think of that exact same experiment, but think of a different error and a different type of experiment, okay? I want to get good at this before we do our next one, which is the ball and ramp experiment, our next experiment, okay? All right, that's all I got for today. Thanks, bye.